Shalom, my Facebook family and friends. This is Yaakov. I'm back, and I'm coming back to give you another dose of truth from the Most High out of His Word. I once again do appreciate being able to come and to deliver a salutation and a message of the Most High in the manner in which it should and supposed to be delivered. I thank all who join me and those who will see this video after it's done. And I hope that what's said will give you some insight into some things that you may not know about, and some things that is it's very, how can I say, pertinent and important to where we are and why we are in the situation that we're in. Obviously, we know that we're in a situation because of disobedience, but it's more to it than that. Okay, we were obviously duped in a lot of things, not knowing the truth. Even up until this time, we have been duped into a lot of things and believing a lot of things, a lot of falsehoods that our forefathers, the matriarchs and patriarchs that went before us, have been taught and passed down to us. But I'm going to bring to light, excuse me, I'm going to bring to light some things that most Christians don't know. But the prominent and hierarchy of the Christendom, they know what I'm about to tell those who don't know. And for those of you Hebrew Israelites who don't know, I want you to lend an ear so that you can hear what the Spirit and the Ruach is saying to the church. Okay? So I am going to hit on some things that is very pertinent to how we got into the place and the sequences of events that took place that got us into a very diverse situation. And one of those things is that, first of all, let me just say a few words to the Most High for this message. Most High, we give your name praise, honor, and glory for the message that you are about to send, and we give praise to your name for your word, because your word is true. Although the enemy has taken and used it for his own self-centered reasons and has led people to believe that your truth is evil spoken of. But we who have been exposed to your truth and understand your truth, we know that there is nothing that can come between you and your people, the true believers. We give your name praise, honor, and glory for sending Yahshua, who has come back to redeem your people back unto you. In Yahshua's name we do pray these things. Hallelujah. The biggest kidnapping that ever took place on the planet was the kidnapping of the people of the Most High. Why? The Bible declares that they are his people and he is our Elohim, or our God. And that's not to be taken lightly, simply because the Most High is long-suffering, merciful, and he gives us opportunity to turn from our wicked ways. But then the Bible declares it is a terrible thing to be left or caught in the hands of an angry Elohim. So there's two sides to what we're dealing with here. Okay, like the Christian world will say that Yahshua or Jesus is loving and he loves everybody, but I would have to disagree, agree to disagree with that, simply because that's not true. It's not true. He loved those that loved him. Okay, he loved those who love him, and he does not force us to love him. He gives us an opportunity to make a decision to love him. And those who do not love him can relate to the greatest kidnapping that the world has ever seen. The kidnapping of the Most High's people by his permission and sold into slavery. Okay? But we also know what slavery entailed. Okay? We can go from Babylon to Rome, even down to America, which is Rome in and of itself, because the Roman Empire never dissipated. It was never taken down. This is a part of the Roman Empire. If you do your studies, you will know that America is based on all of the principles of the Roman Empire. This is Mystery Babylon and the Roman Empire, all wrapped up in one, America. So now let's go to this, and we will understand better the things that took place that got us into the place that we are. The world before man, okay? Now, we need to examine prehistory and the time prior to the appearance of man on earth to understand how Satan became to be who and as he is. When we know that, then we'll know exactly why he's come to the earth, full of anger, full of hate, and he's come to deceive man. He come to deceive man not only because he's man, but because he's made in the image and likeness of the Most High Yah. Okay? So we have to keep this in mind. Okay? When he looks at us, okay, Yah's people, okay, and let's not get it twisted. When he looks at Yah's chosen people, he sees the image and likeness of the Most High. Okay? So we need to examine this prehistory. Okay? And in this prehistory, like I said, it was a time or a period before the appearance of Adam and how Satan came to be who he is, before Adam was even here. Okay? The book of Job best describes the time when the Most High created the earth. Okay? But not only the book of Job, we're going to also look at another chapter in the Word. Okay? We're going to look at the book of Job, and we're going to look at Isaiah. Okay? And these are going to tell us, these two books are going to tell us a lot about what we don't know. You know, most Christians don't know. Okay? And most Hebrews should know. Okay. So we're going to go down to, let's see, let's go over to Job. The book of Job best describes the time when the Most High created the earth, billions of years ago. Now, I don't know if it was billions of years ago, okay, but the theological world and science, or scientists say it's billion years ago. I'm not going to try to put a number or how many billions or how many thousands or whatever the case may be. All I know is the earth was created in an image, and the earth was created by the Most High. Okay, so it says the Most High asked Job a series of questions. One of the questions he asked Job was, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding." This is one of the questions he asked Job. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? See, now we have to understand, when the Most High laid the foundations of the earth, okay, this was long before water was on the earth. Okay, because even under the water, the oceans and the seas is the earth. Okay, water covers the earth. Okay, so it's earth underwater. Okay, so he asks Job, "Where were you? Okay, when I laid the foundation of the earth, declare if you have understanding." Okay, now he asked this question of Job because Job decided he wanted to challenge the Most High. So now the Most High has given him an opportunity to, to explain, if he can, where he was when the Most High did these things. He said, "Who laid the measures thereof, if you know, or who have stretched the line upon it? When the morning stars sang together, all the sons of the Most High shouted for joy." Okay, now let's look at Isaiah. Okay, and we're going to look at 45:18. Okay, let me see. First of all, let's do this. Okay, he says, and this was in Job 38:4, 5, and 7. He says, "These stars were the angels." Revelation 12:4 also describes as sons of the Most High. Of course, now we have to understand, literal stars do not sing. Okay? And we have to also understand, stars are not the twinkling things we see in the sky. Truly, stars are suns. The sun that's in the sky is a true star. Okay? Not every little dot you see, but the sun is a true star. All right? So now he says, of course, literal stars do not sing. Notice that it says, all of them shouted and sang together. So he's telling you that these stars are the angels of the Most High, and they have the ability not only to sing and shout, but to give glory to the Most High, not only for what he did, but for what they saw him do. All right. And Job goes on to say in 38 is a remarkable passage revealing that at the beginning of the physical creation there was peace, harmony, and happiness. But this is not the actual beginning of the Most High creation. It is the account of the beginning of his physical creation, of all things that are made of matter. All things that are made of matter. Now let's see what Isaiah says. Isaiah 45:18 says, "For thus saith the Most High, who created the heavens, Elohim himself that formed the earth and made it. He had established it He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Most High, and there is none else. Okay? So he's establishing in the very beginning, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, that he created a planet peaceful, okay, without any confusion. It was in harmony. Everybody was happy. And he placed Lucifer on the planet with the third part of his angels to keep it. The same instructions that he gave to Adam, he gave to Lucifer. To keep it, to manicure it, to, to grow it. Okay? So now we have Job, and he is telling Job, okay, that the creation, at the beginning of creation, there was peace, harmony, and happiness. Now, the second part of creation declares in Genesis that and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Okay? Now, obviously, we know if the first verse of chapter 1 of Genesis says that the earth was not created like that, then something took place. Something had to happen. Okay? So we need to know what happened and why. Okay? So let's go on with this. Okay? These stars were angels. In Revelation 12:4, it states that. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to deliver to devour her child as soon as it was born. So this tells you that these stars, okay, like I said, were not literal stars, but they were angels. And there was a third part of the angels of heaven, okay, that his tail drew and cast them to the earth. All right? So now, here we are, okay, and is making a remarkable statement here, okay? These stars are angels, and he drew them to the earth where he was cast down. So verse 2 of Genesis, which is in darkness, formless, and void, was the direct result of Lucifer being cast out of heaven unto the earth. Him and the third part of his angels. So he asks Job, he says, the true beginning of all things, where the account of the Most High's creation really begins, is not found in Genesis, but rather in the New Testament in John 1. This is not true. Okay, this is where the Bible records who or what existed before the creation recorded in Genesis. Okay, because the Bible is clear of when his creation was. Watch what where am I go? Okay, watch what 2 Peter says. 2 Peter says, I'm going to 2 Peter, and where you at, Peter? I'm going to 2 Peter and 3 and 5. Watch what Peter says. Okay. Peter says, wait a minute, am I in the right place? Hold on. 2 Peter 3, I'm sorry, 2 Peter 3, 5. Okay. Through, I'm going to go down to, I think, about 9. 2 Peter says, for this they willingly are ignorant of. For what? Listen, he says, by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto the fire against the day of judgment, and the perdition of ungodly men. Okay? So Peter is telling, us that for this we are willingly ignorant of. For what? That we believe in verse 2 of Genesis that the earth was without form, void, and dark as a direct result of creation. It's not. Creation, okay, is what the Most High did in verse 1. And he validated that in Isaiah 45:18. He validated his creation in 45:18. Verse 2 is not an act of creation. It's an act of destruction. Okay? Because anytime you obscure the sun from the earth, nothing lives. So it has to be an act of destruction. And where did this destruction come from? From Lucifer. Okay? Obviously. And I'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to go, and it says, but who is the Word? John answers a few verses later. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth, the only Elohim being who ever became flesh in order to dwell among men is Yahshua. He was not flesh until he came to earth to become the Savior of mankind. So, in other words, the Most High had to come in the person of Yahshua. Okay, this is when he became flesh. All right, so now here we have, in the original Greek, the term, the word actually means the spokesman. Okay, while Yahshua only became the Son of the Most High at his human birth, he was an eternal being. He was without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. Okay. And that is a priest after the order of Melchizedek. A lot of people believe that Melchizedek was not Yahshua, but he was, because they were one and the same. They both had the Spirit of the Most High in their person. Okay? And we have to understand that the Most High is the one visiting. David said, who is man that thou art mindful of him? Or the Son of Man that thou visiteth him? The Most High visit us through man. He comes through man because he has to come through us with what we can conceive in our minds or see with our eyes. So he has to come in such a way that we can receive him. Okay? If you remember when when Moses brought the Hebrews to the foot of the mountain and the Most High visited them, they were so afraid because of how the Most High just shook the mountain and spoke that they said, no, Moses, we don't want to go to the mountain no more. Anything he has to say to us, tell it to you, and you can bring it to us. But we're not going there. They was afraid. They were afraid because the Most High cannot speak in a manner like man can to man. okay, because he's just too awesome. When the Most High speaks in the spirit, things move and shake because he's just that awesome, okay? So it goes on to say, plainly, these verses speak of Yahshua both before and after his human birth. Again, only one being became flesh and dwelt among us. Okay, so Ephesians 3 and 9 confirms John 1. It says, the Most High created all things by Yahshua, having been the Word, the spokesman for all eternity. Yahshua said many times throughout his ministry that he only declares what the Most High wanted him to say. Since Yahshua was the Word, we can understand why Psalms 33 states, by the word of the Most High were the heavens, or the universe, made, and all the hosts of them by the breath of his mouth. For he spoke, and it was done. So they're telling you that the Most High was the creator of all things. Okay? And Yahshua being, okay, the vessel to come to man, to redeem man, had to come in the person of the Most High, because there was no one else that was worthy of coming but the Lamb. Okay, so now let me get to this. Okay, for those of you who are in the Christian world and you hear of the angels, okay, that came into the daughters of men, and your first thought or inclination is angels cannot have sex with women, but that's not true. That's not true, because just like man, the angels have a choice. The angels have a choice on whether they want to obey the Most High or disobey him. Okay, they have a choice just like us. Okay, so here is Genesis and chapter 6. It says here, and I'm gonna show you and back it up for you, okay, because it's very important that you understand some things. All right? Okay, Genesis chapter 6. It says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth. Men. Okay? When we say men, we're talking about men like Adam and his seed. Okay? And daughters were born unto them. Now watch this. And daughters were born unto men. It says that the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men. Now, the Christian world believes that these sons were the sons of Abel and the sons of Seth. I'm sorry, the sons of Cain and the sons of Seth. But they weren't. Okay? They weren't the same, because men and women are not designed to create monsters. Okay? They're not designed to create monsters or alter what the Most High has made. Let me go on. It says that the sons of God. Now we saw in Job that the sons of God, or the sons of the Most High, were the angels. It said it clearly. The angels of the Most High. Let me read it for you again. Okay? It says, the book of Job best described the times when the Most High created the earth years ago. The Most High asked Job a series of questions. Where were you when I had laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who has laid the measures thereof, if you know? Or who has stretched a line upon it? When the morning stars, listen, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Now, remember, these are not the sons of Cain and Seth, because Adam was not here. He was not here at this particular time when he's talking to Job. Okay? He says, all the sons of the Most High, okay, sang for joy. Okay, shouted for joy. These stars were angels. Revelation 12:4 will tell you that. Also described as sons of the Most High. And I said, of course, literal stars do not sing. Notice that it says all of them shouted and sang together. So this right here validates that the sons of God and the daughters of men were not Seth's sons and Cain's daughters. No. They were the angels of the Most High, spoken of in Genesis. Okay? That the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men. The sons of the Most High were the angels, saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now, let's deal with this. The church believes that angels cannot have sex with a physical woman. And let me clear up something. There are no female angels and there are no children angels. There are only male angels, period. All right? But it is believed in Christendom that angels cannot have sex with the daughters of men or physical women. When the Bible clearly states, and the Most High, and the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Most High said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, physical man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High came into the daughters of men. So, right there tells you that the angels are able to have sexual intercourse with the daughters of men. Okay? Now, the angels don't have daughters. The angels does not procreate. They have no need to procreate. Why? Because they are eternal. Men have a need to procreate. Why? Because we die. So we have to procreate in order to keep that seed that the Most High promised to redeem back to himself. So he has to procreate. All right? So it says, and there were giants in the earth. Let me see. Okay. And there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of the Most High came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. Okay? Now, these sons of God, or these angels of God, who came into the daughters of men. The daughters of men was the daughters of Lamech, Noah, Methuselah, all of the righteous of the Most High, from Adam down. These are the children, the daughters that these sons of the Most High came into, who saw them and lusted after them. They were called the Watchers. Why were they called the Watchers? Because they were sent to the earth by the Most High to watch over Adam and his seed. Once again, because men die. So they were sent to watch over him as he procreate. Okay? Because before men fell, animals were not aggressive. They were not aggressive, and they would not hurt mankind or man. Okay? But after the fall of man, everything came aggressive. Even man. Okay? Even man. And he became aggressive simply because he decided to follow Lucifer and his angels. So, where the Christians or Christendom believe that there is no intermingling between angels and the daughters of men, or anything of that nature, that's not true. Okay? And there were giants. These giants were a product of the intercourse between the women of men and the sons of the Most High. Okay? So it goes on to say, it says, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High came into the daughters of men, and they bare children. As plain as the nose on your face. These angels were able to come into the women and bear children to them. Okay? Why? Because they appeared to them as men in the flesh, like the serpent appeared to Eve like a man. You understand? He appeared to Eve like a man. And he appeared to her because the Lucifer knew that if he got into this serpent, this serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, the Most High said. He stood upright like a man. He talked like a man. He appeared like a man. So he was able to overtake or seduce Eve. Same thing here. These angels were able to seduce the children of men. Okay, and went into them and bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now, this was a direct result of what the angels had taught men and taught the children that they produce from the children of men. So these angels was actually teaching their sons heavenly secrets that truly men were not supposed to know. So they were teaching them heavenly secrets, Okay. So now the Most High said, and the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of his thoughts was of his heart was evil continually. And it repented the Most High that he made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Most High said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both men, beasts, and creeping things, and the fowl of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Now, why is the Most High so distraught about man, beasts, fowl, creeping things? Because these men began to tamper with these beasts, fowl, creeping things, and with man, to distort and to make Lucifer look like a creator. He created everything that was hideous in the earth that would make the Most High send a deluge on the earth to wipe out everything. He said it grieved him at his heart that he made man, because man fell. So now man is a product and able to be used by Lucifer, because not only is Lucifer a fallen angel, now men are fallen, and men procreate one after another and after another. So the Most High had to send this deluge to wipe out the wickedness of man, because the wickedness in his heart was continually evil. Every thought of his imagination was completely and totally evil. Okay? So, let me see. Let me look at this. Let's look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah 4. Jeremiah 4. And let's see. 23. Now watch what Jeremiah says. Because of the wickedness of Lucifer and the fallen ones. Jeremiah says, so there will be no doubt about what I said concerning creation, and the first verse being the true creation, okay, and the second verse being destruction, okay, the second verse being destruction. Jeremiah says in 23, watch this. He says, and I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form. Look at what verse 2 says. The earth was without form, void, and dark. Now this is Jeremiah getting the word from the Most High. He said, and I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, they had no light. So that's dark. And the heavens, because that's where you get your light from, the sun, the moon, and stars. So if those things are not there, then it's in darkness, right? He said, in the heavens they had no light. And I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. And I beheld, and lo, there was no man. This was before men or Adam was even thought of. Now, Jeremiah is telling you something that happened before time. And watch what he said. And he said, and I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens were fled. There was no life in the sky, okay? Because where are they going to go in the darkness? So they died. And then 26 says, and I beheld, and lo, the fruitful places was a wilderness. All the trees and all of the things that gave fruit and nourishment and resources to the inhabitants of the earth. It was a wilderness now. And all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Most High by his fierce anger. Now, listen to what this is saying. It says, there were no fruitful places, and all of the cities. Now, this was before Adam was even formed. So this tells you that when the sons of God, the angels in Job, gave the Most High glory, they shouted for joy for what they had seen the Most High create, the earth. And he gave Lucifer and a third part of the angels rule over the earth. They ruled it. And he says, he said, I beheld, and the fruitful places was a wilderness, and the cities thereof, cities before Adam. In order to have a city or a nation, you have to have a ruler. Lucifer was that ruler. Okay, the cities thereof were broken down in the presence of the Most High and his fierce anger. And thus had the Most High said, the whole land shall be desolate. Now watch this. He said the whole land shall be desolate, which means it will not be able to give life or sustain life. Desolation. Okay? He says, but yet will I not make a full end. Now, what is that actually saying? If the earth is desolate, not able to give or sustain life, then what does he mean by not giving or making a full end to the earth? What he's saying is, I'm not going to take the earth out of the sky or out of the universe. I'm not going to totally destroy it and just make it like a supernova. No, he didn't do that. He destroyed it to the point where nothing could live on it and no life could be sustained on it. Okay? So now we have him, the earth, in total darkness. This is not an act of creation in verse 2. This is an act of destruction. And here it is telling you, here in Jeremiah is telling you. Now, let me explain to you how I know the difference from this destruction in verse 2 of Genesis opposed to the destruction of the flood in Noah's time. See, this flood was for Lucifer because of what Lucifer did. What did Lucifer do? Okay, I'm gonna come back to this. And where we at? Isaiah. This is what Lucifer did to bring all this destruction to the earth. In Isaiah 14:12, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Now, remember, everything I'm telling you was prior to Adam even being on this earth. Everything that I'm speaking to you about is in the antediluvian, or time before time. See, this is the foundation of what took place to bring us where we are in this time, in this day. Okay? It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken nations? There were nations on this earth, okay? He says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend or go up. And Revelations tell you, and the dragon and his angels fought against Michael and his angels and prevailed not, but were cast back down to the earth, were cast back down to the ground. Here it says, but he was cast down to the ground. Okay, now, how do I know this took place? How do I know that this destruction actually took place? Listen, the earth was destroyed. The Bible tells you it was without form, void, and dark. It was flooded. Okay? Now, in verse 3 of Genesis, it says, and the Most High said, let there be light. And when the lights came on, because remember, in Jeremiah, he said, I will make the earth desolate. Desolation means nothing can live there and life cannot be sustained there. Okay? He said, but yet I will not bring it to a complete end. I will not totally destroy the planet. So he has an agenda. Okay? He has an agenda because his word cannot leave out of his mouth and return back unto him void. He said he wanted glory from the earth. The third part of the angels and Lucifer was set on the earth to give him that glory. But in Isaiah, Lucifer got high and lifted up. It says, Lucifer said, he says, for thou hast said in thy heart, his heart, I will ascend unto heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars, the angels of the Most High. I will sit also in the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. See, this was his agenda. His agenda was to take over the heavens and be like the Most High. But what he failed to realize, because he was created by fate, to be created by fate means it was nothing in the whole host of heaven above Lucifer. Nothing. Okay? Nothing was created higher than him. Anything that would be created higher than Lucifer had to be the Most High himself. How do I know that? Because when Lucifer fell, the Bible declares that the Most High searched the heavens for someone to send to the earth. And he said he couldn't find no one. But lo, under the altar, a lamb slain from the foundation of the world. That lamb, Yahshua became that lamb in the person of the Most High. So now it says this was the reason why the earth became in the form that it became. It became desolate. Now let's go back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah in chapter 4, he says, and I beheld the earth. He's saying the same thing that Genesis is saying. He said, and I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, they had no light. And I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. And I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heaven has fled. And I beheld, and lo, the fruitful places was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Most High, and by his fierce anger. So he's telling you that the Most High had destroyed the face of the earth with water. That was the first flood on the earth, with water. Okay, when he cast Lucifer back down to the earth, this was the destruction of Genesis verse 2, that the theologians and all of the religious people will tell you is a part of creation. But we all know that that cannot be a part of creation. Anytime you obscure the sun from the earth, it's not a part of creation. It's a part of destruction. That is an act of destruction. Okay, so now in Jeremiah, he lays it down. Okay, and he's right on point with Genesis. He's right on point with it. Okay, so now let's look at let's look at we're seeing Peter. Okay, we're seeing Isaiah. Okay, now I want to validate something from Genesis chapter 6. Okay, when we was in Genesis chapter 6, okay, chapter 6 told you what happened with the angels that sang praises to the Most High for creating the earth. Okay, and I meant to let me just fall back for a little bit and tell you my thoughts, because I told you I was going to prove to you that these things happen when he destroyed these planets. Okay, he destroyed all of them. But only one planet did he create to receive glory from, and that was the earth. So when he put the earth in darkness, he did not bring a total destruction to it. He made it desolate. No seed could grow in the ground. No, there was no birds. There was no man. There was nothing. It was desolation, darkness. And he called it back into existence in verse 3 when he said, let there be light. This was not a creation. This was a redoing of what was already done in verse 1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth. Bam, just like that. And it looked just like, if you look out your window, it looked just like that. Only there wasn't modern things. But the trees, the grass, the birds, the animals, all that. He created the heavens and the earth. And it looked just like it looked now. But now, when he destroyed it, it was desolate. Nothing could live on it. Not even the trees. Not even the seeds that he put in the ground. But when verse 3 comes in, and he said, and let there be light. And when the light came, you'll see that his word was true. He said, but yet I will not bring a total end to the earth. Because when the light came, everything that he did in verse 1 was still there when the lights came back on. The sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth. It wasn't in good shape, but it was still there. So he had to redo what he did in verse 1. And it tells you in Genesis, when he told Adam, he said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish. To replenish means to redo something that was already done. Okay? This series of verses that they give you in Genesis is not creation. It's a redoing of what was done in verse 1. Okay? Adam is just told to replenish it, make it like it was. He was given that command to replenish the earth, replenish and multiply. Okay? Now, what makes you believe that, okay, this flood was not the reason for this destruction? When obviously I just laid it out for you, and it was. This is the difference between the first flood and the second flood. Noah's flood was not like the first flood. Man, the angels brought on, okay, the second flood, just like Lucifer brought on the first flood. But the difference is, in Noah's flood, the Most High didn't put out all the lights in the heavens. The sun still came up, the moon still came up, and the stars were still in the sky. He was on the ark, but he was able to look out and see. In the morning, the sun came up. He sent birds out the window, okay? And the seed was still in the ground, because when he sent the birds out, a bird came back with an olive branch in his mouth. In the first flood, he couldn't do that. So that's why in verse 3 all the way down, he replenished everything. He had to replenish. He had to put the seeds back in the ground, the trees. He had to do all that over again. That's why when Noah's flood came, okay, Noah's flood, there was no darkness, okay? There was water over the earth, but the water receded. And when the water receded, things began to grow again. They began to come back as it normally would. In the first flood, it couldn't do that. The Most High had to rebuke the water by his word. In Psalms, David said, and the Most High rebuked the water, and it went back to its bed, in the seabed. Rebuke means in an instant, wham, the Most High's word sent the water, and the water fled back to its bed. In Noah's flood, the water receded from the earth in time. It had to slowly go back to its bed. But in Lucifer's flood, because the Most High wanted the earth back to this natural form, he rebuked the water. See, water has life. People don't know this. Fire, water is life. It's a spirit in these things. And that's why the Most High said to the water, After the flood of Noah, he gave a promise that he would never flood the earth again, like he did in the first flood of Lucifer and in the second flood of Noah. Now the command to the seas and the oceans is, come thus far and no further. See, the water is only able, because the water have a mind of its own. And if it was up to the water, it would flood the earth. So the Most High said, come thus far and no further. If you go out to the ocean, you see how the water, and you see these big waves, they come up, but they go back by the command of the Most High. They can't come up and flood the earth. Okay? Now, certain things happen that you just can't hold back. Like if you have an underground earthquake, you're going to have a tsunami. That's just nature. Okay? But all things obey the Most High. Okay? Even the oceans and the seas. So, I'm going to just do one more thing to show you that Genesis chapter 6, where Christendom believes that the angels cannot have sex with physical women, and it's not true. Okay, because the angels are shapeshifters. The angels can make themselves like me. They can make themselves look just like me. And here's to give you an idea that it is possible for angels to have sex with women. When the angels came to visit Abraham, the Most High came with 2 other angels, okay, to visit Abraham. When they came to visit Abraham, they did 3 things. They ate food, they drank water, and they rested under the tent of Abraham. Now, these are angels in the forms of men. Okay? So if their bodies needed food and water and rest, then what makes you think that these angels couldn't also have sex with women? Okay? But see, the angels who follow the precepts and the commands of the Most High won't cross that line. But the angels who don't care about the precepts or the commands of the Most High will do whatever they want to do, no matter the consequence. Okay? So, in verse 6 it says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of the Most High, as spoken of in Job, that the Most High sons were the angels. Okay, because Adam wasn't here at that time. It says, the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men. Okay, that they were fair. Now, these angels were called watchers. The Most High sent them to the earth to watch over us after Adam was expelled from the garden. So, Adam, unfamiliar with anything outside of the garden, needed to be protected, because now the animals became aggressive. Okay, and because men had to replenish the earth, and because men multiply, okay, the Most High has set a decree that if any animal kills a man, that animal must die, because men have to now populate the earth, okay, in order for the agenda of the Most High to come through. So the angels, or the watchers as they were called, were sent to watch over Adam and his seed. But they became enthralled with the children of men, the daughters of Adam. They became like, they lusted after them. In Jude, it tells you that they lusted. They left their first estate. What was their first estate? Heaven. They left their first estate in order to defile themselves with flesh and blood. These were spirits. They needed not procreate because they were eternal. They never died. Okay? So now you have them here on earth, and now they've lusted after these women. And what does it say? And there were giants in the earth in those days, and after that, when the sons of the Most High came into the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them. That's plain as nose on your face. The sons of the Most High at that time was spoken of were not the sons of Cain and the daughters of Seth. They were the angels of the Most High. They were the watchers who came, and the watchers lusted after them, and they shapeshift themselves into the form of man in order to go into the women. Okay, and they had children. But the thing was, they sinned and defiled themselves against the Most High. Because when we sin, is against the Most High, and Him only do we sin. And the product of that union of angels and flesh and blood was a hideous product. It was a giant. It was an ogre. It was everything you see on TV that's 20 foot tall and looks hideous. That's what it was. And they were called the Nephilim. The Nephilim giants. And they came in all shapes, forms, sizes, and everything. And to back that up, this is one of the reasons why the Catholic Church took the book of Enoch out of the original canon of the Bible, because the book of Enoch was a part of the original canon of the Bible. But at the Council of Nicaea, they took several books out. They call them lost, but they weren't lost. The Catholic Church had all these books. They were lost to us. And this is one of the reasons why we weren't allowed to read the Bible. Not even in slavery, but we weren't allowed to read the Bible after Joshua left 2,000 years ago in the first century church. 100 years after Joshua left, that first church, that apostate church, that fallen church that came up out of the earth, would not allow us to read. They said that we were not spiritual enough to, or the Bible was too complex for us to read, when that was a lie. Okay? When you're not taught to read, or when you can read and get a greater understanding of what the word is saying, this is what they did not want. Why? Because the church wanted to rule, and they did. They ruled the whole earth at one particular time, the Catholic Church. They ruled kings, princes. They ruled them because they had that rule. But they fell. The Catholic Church fell under the rule of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte went to Rome and took the Pope and threw him in jail. But America was responsible for giving Rome its power back. Okay? They gave them their power back. And it says that in Revelations. Okay? And we'll get to that someday. But listen what Enoch says. Enoch says, and it came to pass when children, same thing that the Bible. Now, this is the book of Enoch, a book that was taken out of the Bible. According to what I just read you out of Genesis, watch what Enoch says. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives among the children of men, and beget us children. Okay? And this was Lucifer's agenda. Lucifer wanted to be a creator. All the animals that you see that was in that particular time were hideous. Dinosaurs and tyrannosaurs and all these hideous animals. The Most High didn't create them. Lucifer did, through tampering with the DNA of fish, beasts, man, and animals. Crawling things. Lucifer did that. Okay? Listen, follow me. He says, And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. Okay? They wanted to get children. Even in the garden, this is what the Most High told the serpent. He told the serpent, he says, because you have done this thing, on thy belly shall thou go, and dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life. And then he says, and thy seed, okay, talking to the serpent, and thy seed shall bruise his heel, and her seed shall bruise your head. Now, that's telling you that the serpent that Lucifer used to get Adam and Eve expelled from the garden, the serpent has a physical seed here on earth. Okay? Like you and me. It looks just like you and me. Okay? So he says, he said, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men and beget us children. And Samyaza, who was the leader, Samyaza is an angel, a fallen angel, who was the leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. They knew what they were doing was a sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves to mutual imprecation, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. They swore they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecation upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecation upon it. And there are the names of the leaders. Now, every one of these leaders had 200 followers behind them. And that was Samyaza, their leader, Rukabel, Ramiel, Kokabel, Temuel, Remiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Baraguel, Azel, Amarozo, Baratel, Aniel, Zekiel, Sampiel, Santurel, Turel, Jopjel, Siriel. These are the chiefs of the tens of the angels that had a flock of angels behind them, okay, the foot soldiers, so to speak. And it says here, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go into them and to defile themselves with them. They defiled themselves, children of heaven, with flesh and blood. They defiled themselves. And they taught them charms and enchantments and cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant and bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, listen to this. When men could no longer sustain these beasts, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. See, this is what this Bible don't want you to know. They'll tell you what happened in short, but they won't tell you the full story. When these giants consumed all the acquisitions of men, and men could no longer sustain them, they turned against men. And when I say turned against them, they started eating us as a people. Okay? It says, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against bird and beast and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. The earth laid an accusation of the lawless ones. See, and this is one of the reasons why the Most High sent the flood in Noah's time because of these giants, these children of the fallen angels. That's why that flood came. But he did not do what he did in Genesis verse 2 of chapter 1. He didn't put out all the lights. He didn't do all that. But because of this act, what the angels did, okay, they began to tamper with the beasts and the birds and the fish and tamper with their DNA because they had that knowledge. Remember, you're dealing with spiritual beings who were very intelligent. They had the knowledge of the cosmos and the suns and all the, what you call it? What they call it? Zodiacs and all that type of stuff. See, a lot of people don't know the zodiacs have to do with the fallen angels. They don't know that. That's why you see soothsayers and palm readers with the zodiacs. Okay? So listen, it says at one point, it says, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates and made known to them the metals of the earth. Prior to this, men didn't know how to go in the earth and get metals out of the earth for war. They didn't know war. But these angels taught them. Why? Because the imagination of their hearts were evil continuously. Were evil. You understand? So this was the end result of that union between angels and the daughters of men. Wickedness. Okay? And it says, and the working art of the working them, and the bracelets and the ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all the coloring trinkets. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Samyaza taught enchantments and root cutting, and Meroza the resolving of enchantments. Each one of these angels taught heavenly secrets to men. Okay? They taught women how to paint their eyes and put makeup on. Okay? And a lot of times, women don't even know why they do what they do. Okay? The angels taught women how to make their faces, and put on this mask. Okay? And it was all to deceive the children of the Most High. It was all to deceive the children of the Most High, to lure them in. I know if you heard that the oldest profession on earth is prostitution. And it is. It is. Because it was used to deceive the righteous. Okay? And the Most High says, and Serial, the course of the moon, they showed them the course of the moon, the signs of the sun, the stars, and the astrology, and all these different things, enchantments, how to cast spells. They taught them all this, okay? And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven, okay? And Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all the lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Most High of ages, Elohim, Most High, King of kings, the God of the ages, the throne of thy glory, standeth unto all thou hast, and all things are naked and open unto thy sight. And thou seest all things, and nothing can be hidden from thee. Thou seest what Azazel had done, whom have taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved, listen, for heaven. They had no business teaching men these things, okay, which were preserved for heaven, okay. Then it goes on to say, which men were striving to learn. And Samyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over these associates, over all these angels, these watchers, okay, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have bore giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentation have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawlessness or the lawless deeds which were wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass. Thou seest things, and thou hast suffered them, and thou dost not say to us what we should do. Now watch what the Most High say. Then the Most High spoke, the Holy and Great One spoke, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, now, the son of Lamech is Noah, okay? He sent Noah a message. He said, and tell him in my name, hide yourself. He hid Noah, okay? And revealed to him the end that is approaching. He revealed to Noah, he put him in hiding so that Noah would not be tainted by the watchers or the wickedness of the earth. Okay? He said, and revealed to him the end that is approaching, and the whole earth will be destroyed. And a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth and will destroy all that is on it. Not completely, but all that is on it. Now watch this. And now instruct him that he may escape and his seed may be preserved for all generations of the world. In Noah was the seed for Abraham. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and his sons, the 12th tribe of Israel, was in Noah. That his seed may be preserved for all generations of the world. And again, the Most High said to Raphael, bind Azazel, hand and foot, and cast him into darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudal, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may see no light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels had corrupted. So the Most High is telling Uriel, Uriel, he's telling Uriel, Gabriel, Michael, and Samuel to heal the earth after this destruction, after he bind up Azazel, okay, and the scribe, he says, and on Azazel ascribe to him all sin. On this angel, he said, ascribe every sin that the angels has committed against man. He said, put it on Azazel. And if you notice in the word, all the sins of Israel was put on a goat. And the goat was led out to the desert with every sin of Israel in it and on it. And all those sins was attributed to Azazel. And to Gabriel, the Most High said, proceed. Now listen to this. He told Gabriel, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, the children of the watchers from among men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. See, the Most High made them come against each other and kill each other. Okay? He says, for length of days shall they have not. And this is what the angels of these monsters wanted. They wanted them to live forever. No, the Bible, the book says they wanted them to live for 500 years. But he said, the Most High said, he said, send them one against another, and said that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they or their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. See, the angels hoped they live eternal lives when they were already eternal, but their offspring hoped to live 500 years. And the Most High said to Michael, go bind Samyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. This is some good stuff, I'm telling you. And then the angels begin to call Noah. And Noah went to them they wanted to make a petition to Noah, because the Most High would not even let them look up any longer. So they wanted to make a petition and give it to Noah and tell Noah to take it to the Most High and ask the Most High to have mercy on them. So Noah fell into a deep sleep. And in that sleep, the Most High spoke to Noah. And he said to Noah, Enoch. He said, O scribe, he says, I, Enoch, was blessed of the Most High and Majesty and King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch, the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of heaven, who have left the high and holy heavens, the eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do. See what I'm saying? He says, they have defiled themselves and does what the children of earth do. What do? We procreate. And they had no business doing that. So he says, and have taken unto themselves wives. You have wrought great destruction on earth, and ye shall have no peace. This is the Most High talking to these angels. You shall have no peace, nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplications unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not attain. The Most High said that these angels are going to watch their children kill off each other, and they're going to cry over this. But he said mercy, he ain't with it. I ain't getting no mercy. So he goes on to say, and Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have tolerance nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of ungodliness and unrighteousness and sin, which thou hast shown men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid. These are angels. They were all afraid, and feared, and trembling seized them. And they sought me to draw up a petition for them that they might find forgiveness, and to read this petition in the presence of the Most High of heaven. For from thenceforth they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven, for shame of their sins, for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and prayer in regard to their spirit and their deeds individually, and in regard to their request that they should have forgiveness and length of days. And I went off and sat down by the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, a vision fell upon me, and I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice came bidding me, to tell it to the sons of heaven, and to reprimand them. And when I awakened, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping. It says weeping. Where am I at? And then it says, they were between Lebanon and Sincere, with their faces covered, and I recounted them before them all the vision which I had seen in sleep, and I began to speak words of righteousness, and to reprimand and the heavenly watchers. Now this is Enoch reprimanding the heavenly watchers. He said, and I'll be done after this. He said, the book of the words of righteousness of the reprimand of the eternal watchers is in accord with the command of the Holy One. In that vision I saw in my sleep that what I now say with a tongue of flesh and with the breath of mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith and understand with the heart, as he has created and given to man. The power of understanding the word of wisdom, so have he created me also and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition in my vision. It appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, that the judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yea, your petition will not be granted unto you. For from henceforth ye shall not ascend unto heaven unto all eternity. And in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bond you for all the days of the world. And that previously you should have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword, and your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writings which I have written. And the vision which was shown to me thus, behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and the lightning sped and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly and lift me upward, bore me into heaven. And I went in till I drew nigh to a wall which was built of crystal and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to frighten me. And I went into it says, and like a testile of floor made of crystal, and the groundwork of crystal. Its ceiling was of the path of stars and lightning, and between them were the fierce cherubims, and the heaven was clear as water. And the entire portal stood open, and the great glory sat thereon, and the remnants shone more brightly, and the sun was whiter than any snow. Then he says to Enoch, he says, Enoch, and hear my words. And one of the holy ones came to me and wakened me, and he made me rise and approach the door, and I bowed my face downward. and the book of the words of righteousness and the reprimand of the hold on. It says, and he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, fear not, Enoch, for thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness, approach hither and hear my voice. This is the Most High talking to Enoch. He said, and go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent Enoch to intercede for them. The Most High told Enoch, you should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high and holy and eternal heaven, and laid with women, and defiled yourself with the daughters of men, and taken to yourself wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants, sons. And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourself with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as though also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they may impregnate them and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. This is the Most High telling the angels, you asking Enoch to intercede on your behalf, when I sent you to the earth to intercede on men's behalf. But instead you went into the women and started defiling yourself with women, and now you're asking men to intercede for you. He said, no, it don't work like that. He said, the Most High told him, he said, your affliction, okay, and the spirit of the giants oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble and take food. But nevertheless, hunger and thirst cause offenses, and their spirits, listen to this, these are the giants, this is the Most High said, and their spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against women, because they have proceeded from them. Because they have proceeded from them from the days of the slaughter of destruction and death of the giants. For the souls of whose flesh the spirits having gone forth shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment, in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and over the godless. And the spirits of these giants shall be called demons. So I hope I said something that, go over this video, okay, and learn the things that you miss, and you'll learn a lot, okay, because there's a reason why we are in the place we are. So to find out why, you have to start from the beginning, and then you have to see the agenda of the Most High as it unfolds. Okay, as it unfolds. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. I appreciate Brother Turner and Ada for joining me, and those who will see this afterwards, and all those who engage in truth. So I'm going to say shalom. Have a great day.